Today I want to look at the sixth bowl of wrath, and there is something in there we need to examine carefully so that we are not closed-minded and so that we don't take away from what John was saying in Revelation 16 verse 12. It is important that we examine each and every word. This is why Bible study takes a lifetime. Each and every word, using different translations and Strong's Concordance to make sure we have the most accurate definitions we possibly can get so that we are not left in the dark concerning prophecies. And let me remind everyone that John in Revelation 10 and verse 7 said that the mysteries of the gospel were written about in the prophets. And that is the reason why when you go and you read the New Testament, you read the book of Revelation, you need to use the prophets to cross-examine what is said, to make sure that translators did not cloud the meaning of certain words that Yeshua, the apostles, and John wrote. So I'm going to try to do this here today, but before I get started, why am I wearing this? The reason why I'm wearing this is because Christians, from Constantine to the Holocaust, forced the Jews to wear the clothing of shame, the yellow clothing of shame, and the yellow star, while the Christians committed horrendous acts of evil against the Jews and against the followers of Yeshua. They pillaged, raped, murdered, burned them at the stake in the name of Jesus, a false god that honors a Zeus. And may those Jews who were murdered in the name of Jesus, may those Jews rise up in judgment against their persecutors, as it is written in the prophets and in the apostles. So, Revelation 16, verse 12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Okay? Well, everyone assumes that it means east of Israel. Let us not assume anything, folks. Okay? Obviously, east means east. There's no question about that. But if you just stop right there and walk away and don't go into Strong's Concordance and get an accurate definition, you might lose the meaning of what John was saying. So let us do that. The word in Greek is Anatolia. What? Anatolia? Well, we all know where Anatolia is, don't we? It doesn't appear to be east of Israel, does it? Why? Now, what does Anatolia mean? It means a rising. That is the exact definition of Anatolia, a rising. So, short definition, rising of the sun, the east. That depends on where you're standing, doesn't it? It's a Greek word, is it not? Yes, it is. So where is Greece in comparison to Anatolia? Well, Greece is actually west of Anatolia. And Anatolia was at one time a part of the Greek Empire, and thereby being the sons of Greece, or what the Greeks spawned, Anatolia. So from a Greek perspective, Anatolia is east, or toward the rising of the sun, which is why they called it Anatolia. Interesting, isn't it? Now, like I said before, the apostles, Yeshua, the apostles, including John, reproved us all, pointing out that the secrets of Jehovah are written in the prophets. So, let us go to what John said in Revelation 10 and verse 7. Let us get permission from John to go to the prophets and get some definition here. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of Jehovah will come to an end. The gospel that he has declared to his servants, the prophets. So let us go to one of the prophets and let us see what this prophet says. Since John agrees with the prophets. Right. Zechariah 9. Now, I want to tell y'all that Ephraim, I have to be careful about this because, well, Judah is not filled with Ephraim yet. Okay? What I'm trying to do here is point something out when Israel is going to be fighting against a group of people. It will be during the time when Syria is going to receive the burden of the word of Jehovah. Verse 1, the land of Hadrach, Damascus, the burden of the word of Jehovah is going to rest upon Hadrach and Damascus. And that is when the eyes of man, including all the tribes of Israel, will see Jehovah. That's what it says in the first verse. They are going to see him. They're going to see the Father in those days. You see. And Hamath also, or Hama, shall border thereby. Tyre and Zidon, though it be very wise. And it says, even though Tyre built itself a stronghold and heaped up dust as silver as dust and the fine gold as a mire in the streets, Jehovah will cast her out, will deport them. And he will smite her power in the sea, and she shall be devoured with fire. So very clearly there's going to be a heap big war in Lebanon in those days. Right after the word of Jehovah, or the burden of the word of Jehovah, falls upon or rests upon Damascus and Syria, the cities of Syria, as we see Hamath. Then it goes to Tyre and Zidon. So what we're about to see is a war, big war with Lebanon. And when Lebanon is cast out, is defeated, and they will be very shortly, Gaza, the people of Gaza are going to be very scared. And they are going to be thrown out as well. It says Ashkelon will not be inhabited. Instead, a bastard shall dwell in Ashkelon, and he's going to cut off their pride of the Palestinians. He's going to take away this death to Israel out of his mouth, verse 7, and his abominations from between his teeth. And he that remains are going to be those who remains there are going to be for the Elohim of Israel. They're going to be the people who say, we stand with Israel. Those are the only ones that are going to remain. And it says in verse 8, and I will encamp about my house because of the army. What army? Because of the army that is coming, that passes through. And because of him that returns, what do you mean? What does that mean? And no oppressor is going to go through them anymore, for now I have seen with my own eyes. And so, here's a prophecy about what's to happen in the future. Rejoice, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king comes unto you. He is just, having salvation, lowly, and riding upon an ass, and upon the foal of an ass. So this is speaking of the Messiah, son of David. All right? Verse 10, and I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off. Whose battle bow is going to be cut off? If you go and read Ezekiel 39, you will see exactly whose battle bow is going to be cut off. He's going to speak peace to the heathen, and his dominion shall be from sea even to sea. From the river Euphrates even to the ends of the earth, all the way to the outer edge, or the furthest edge of the Mediterranean Sea. Okay? As for you, by the blood of your covenant I have set forth your prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. Turn you to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope, even today do I declare that I will render double unto you. And it is written in more prophets than just Zechariah about how he's going to double the reward of Jerusalem for all the pain and sorrow that Jerusalem has suffered. When is he going to do this? This is when Judah is bent like a bow, and he fills that bow with Ephraim. Now, as I pointed out in other videos, is that there is a nation who provides military equipment for Israel, for the Jews in Israel. According to this, Ephraim, or Ephraimites that live in foreign lands, is doing this. And raised up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Greece. So this war, initial war, where Jehovah will be seen, will show himself, will be this war between Zion, Judah, with Ephraim helping, versus the sons of Greece, or the lands of Greece, or what was at one time the lands of Greece. And we see that the kings of Anatolia, or the kings of the east, are going to come through in the when the Euphrates River is cut off. Now, the Euphrates River has been shut off several times, and one time in February of 2017. What was the reason? The reason was so that they could cut off water to the Kurds. It had nothing to do with Israel at that particular point. They're going to do it again. They're going to do it again so that they can fight against the Jews in Israel. That's the one we are going to be looking for. Okay? Verse 14, and Jehovah will be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and Jehovah Elohim shall blow the trumpet. Oh, this happens when he starts blowing the trumpet. And this is the reason why I have a hard time making up my mind. Do the vials happen during the trumpet sounds, or do they not? I have a hard time with it. I don't know. You know, sometimes I believe it to be one way, and sometimes I believe it to be the other way. The only way we're going to know is when it happens, we will see for sure. But this happens at the sound of the trumpet. Is it when the last trumpet is sounded? Is it when the sixth trumpet is sounded? Because in the sixth trumpet, it does talking about the river Euphrates. Shall blow the trumpet and shall go with whirlwinds of the south. Jehovah shall defend them, and they shall devour, subdue with sling stones, and they shall drink and make a noise as with wine, and they shall be filled like bowls as the corner of the altar. And Jehovah their Elohim shall save them in that day as a flock of his people, for they shall be as stones in the crown, lifted up as a sign upon his land. And that reminds me of what is written in Haggai 2, verses 18 through 22, if you want to read it. And so, what I really wanted to do today is I wanted to point out that in that Revelation, and of course the sons of Greece, you got to remember, Greek Orthodox, Russian, not just because the Russians are in fact Greeks. This has been told to me by Ukrainians and the Russians. They're Greeks, and the Greeks, what do? They settled all around the Black Sea, and eventually also became Kiev Rus. So, undoubtedly, they will be a part of that too. I just wanted to show everyone that the Revelation 16, the sixth bowl of wrath, it says the kings of Anatolia might be prepared. That's what it says. Coming from John, what John actually wrote. He actually wrote, I believe he actually wrote the word Anatolia. And so, what we have here in Zechariah talks about the sons of Greece. Anatolia was a part of the Grecian Empire. But it's not limited to Anatolia, folks. So, just wanted to make sure that we understood the meaning of this word. And so that we're not looking for clues when the truth has already jumped out at us when these things begin to happen. Anyway, that's all I've got today. I'm sure that tomorrow something will happen that's very interesting tomorrow that I'll comment about.